Think outside the box, if you will. I mean, go there, go off campus. Let's think this through. And sure enough, that's where the Mustang was born. When it finally hit, it took the country by storm.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Cars in Context. I'm your host John Clor. This is the Motor City and this is the show where we put cars into the context of your everyday life. We've got a lot of automotive experience here to share today, but I'll make no apologies for my decidedly Detroit perspective. Today you've seen many of our politicians stand up and give you the state of the state, the state of the union, the state of the city. Well, today we brought in one guy who can really make the state of the automotive industry address, and that is none other than Chris Sawyer of thevirtualdriver.com. Chris, are you ready for your big moment?
No, I was actually looking for this guy you were talking about. He's not here.
Yeah, well, you're going to be able to get up here, and you know, we have to take a snapshot of the industry because
like Flo?
Yeah, well, no, not like Flo. No, please, not like Flo. Hey, did you see the new one that Flo's on? With the new commercial where they keep telling, kill her, kill her.
Oh yes,
she's
love that.
Yeah, and then she says, no, I didn't turn your
into a
daughter
rooster. She just looks like that.
She just looks like that.
Yeah, I love
Terrible that. Flo, that's a rotten thing to say. You're not the spring chicken yourself. But anyway, ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, so
on that note, time for the news.
The industry is going to be, we're going to give you some industry news, and then we're going to take a little snapshot, because a lot is being said about the automotive industry. Oh, we're rebounding, we're going to carry the world on our shoulders. And other people are saying, hey, just hang on a second.
After you're done with me, you're going to want to kill yourself.
No.
I'm just saying.
And then we'll have a hotline for you later on to call in.
Suicide hotline,
yeah,
please hold.
You can send it to me, jclor@carsincontext.com, because he won't answer that.
That's right.
All right, so first of all, let's just talk about car sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, car sharing was like when your dad wouldn't let you buy a car, so you had to use your brother's. I hated that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, first of
So
all,
did my brother.
Yeah, first of all, he wanted to use it all the time. Second of all, it always smelled like his old girlfriends. He was
I'm
and
not
White
making
Castle
a comment about that at
and
all,
White
no.
Castle smelled a lot like White Castle in there, and because he was not, he didn't
Sliders.
Yeah, slider boxes. So I don't like car sharing, but I'm talking about driverless cars and ride sharing that we're doing now. A new study came out just from the U of M, University of Michigan, said that car ownership will be cut in half, if the world adopts this car sharing. In fact, they're studying now, the auto industry is really looking at this study, because they're saying this KPMG study suggests that motorists could save a boatload of money if they just share their cars. Don't buy a car, just share one. Using the U.S. market, the study shows the average new car costs about 61 cents a mile to operate right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that includes depreciation, insurance, all the fixed costs, right? Spread over 5 years, a car driven 15,000 miles a year, which I drive way more than 15,000 miles. But a fixed cost of a shared car, ready? For multiple people, multiple drivers, driven 40,000 miles a year, drops to only 26 cents a mile. That means you could save more than $5,000 a year by paying for the car that you only use when you need it, rather than by owning a car that sits like 22 hours a day in your driveway. So a lot of people are saying this will be the demise of the industry, Chris. Once everybody starts sharing cars, we're not going to need half as many. And
last time I heard this story was 1996. GE was claiming that they were going to be the big owner of all these fleets. People were going to rent the cars, share them when they needed them.
So you're telling me that the White Castle Crave case in the back seat?
Would you really want to share a car with someone? Let's go back to a very basic tenet of human life. When everybody owns it, nobody owns it, it doesn't get taken care of.
Yeah, that's for darn sure. That's for darn. Well, I hope you're wrong about it. I hope you're right about it.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, now tell us something that...
Here's one. Hey, guess what? We were right again. A new MTV survey found millennials are actually much more interested in cars than previously thought. Really?
No, they said they hate cars, they like
After reports that said millennials would rather use a smartphone than drive a car, the new study from MTV says, not true.
What?
About 70% of millennials say they like driving a lot. I wonder how many of them said what was awesome. And three in four would rather give up social media for a day than their car for a day.
Really?
With 72% preferring to drive for a week over texting for a week. As it turns out, Millennials claim they drive more miles per month than any other generation.
What
and
the-
now,
What?
a report from the folks at True Car show how just about important that demographic's going to be in the industry.
Well-
and this goes back to your previous thing.
Okay.
Millennials are expected to buy 4.2 million new vehicles in the year in the U.S., about 25% of the total market.
But they weren't supposed to like cars.
Yeah, but it's just like we said.
What did
They didn't have the money.
It's the economy, stupid.
That's right.
Oh, for crying out. Then, see, this is what I hate about those studies, folks. You don't believe all those studies. Come to Cars in Context, tune up WMTV, tune us in. We'll tell you the real deal. It wasn't that stupid study. It's like,
Smarter
first those
than the average bear.
Oh, one of those studies says cholesterol. You're going to die if you eat an egg.
Yeah, and then egg is the most perfect food.
Yeah, no, it's, what do you, what?
But
Yeah, okay, listen. Here's a doomsday report.
yes, I read this earlier. It
Yeah.
fits right in with what I'm going to say.
Yeah, we're selling cars, folks. You're buying them out there, but here's what you're doing. You're buying that car with an extremely long length of loan. Beware of these lengthening loan rates. Car makers are taking bigger and bigger steps to keep you buying. And how do they do that when your car costs the average of $32,000? Remember when a new car averaged at 20?
And we thought it was the end of the world.
Well, who's got 20 grand? Well,
The
now.
government was actually was going to hold meetings on what to do about this.
Right.
And when they should look in the mirror and say, oh yeah, we're raising the prices.
Right. So now instead of that 3 and 4 year car loan, you're getting 6 or 7 year car loans. 1 out of 4. 1 out of every 4 new cars now being
I scratch my head over that one.
a 7-year car loan. Well, the cars do last longer. We kept cars for
yeah.
11 years,
Yeah.
but you
But
better
aren't
not.
you bored after about that?
Well,
though?
that's just it. You better love it. Are you going to love it? Are you going to list it?
I love that show.
Oh, okay.
Both of them, actually.
Give me some other doomsday news, will
A
you?
U of M study suggests that we are on the verge of seeing traffic jams becoming a thing of the past.
Oh, now come
An in-depth report from the University of Michigan says that autonomous cars
I
and
smell
ride-sharing
sarcasm.
sharing
Oh.
could slash the number of cars on the road by 43%.
So almost half the cars are going to go away off the roads?
Exactly. They should actually.
What?
It claims average ownership in the U.S. would drop from 2.1 cars per household to 1.2, and would also nearly double the average miles driven per day from today's 11,600 up to 20,000.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, sure.
The study is titled Potential Impact of Self-Driving Vehicles on Household Vehicle Demand and Usage. And it says that this represents the high end of how many cars
I
might be eliminated.
don't buy it.
Neither do I.
Study. See the academia just.
Yeah, well, you know, when you're in an ivory tower, you
Yeah,
can't-
well, you better get a
Of course,
new.
that ivory
Better
tower.
get a grant to get
Better
another
than being in the porcelain tower, I guess.
Oh, depends if you're not feeling good, especially those White Castles. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of this craziness, this insanity,
Autonomy, yeah.
autonomy. Now we've done shows on autonomous cars and self-driving cars, and I personally think it's just an affront to my senses.
And after last week, when a 14-year-old kid went out and he was part of this deal about hacking cars.
Yeah.
And so he went out and bought a circuit board, built it up, and hacked a car overnight. 14-year-old kid. And the industry guys are going, that's not possible.
Yeah, and next year,
it is.
Next year he's going to be on The Big Bang Theory.
Exactly.
But anyway, there's a new acronym now. We call them AV, and that stands for Autonomous Vehicles. NHTSA expects them to be here way sooner than you do, folks. In fact, you know, we love NHTSA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did a show on them too. Look that one up on Cars in Context TV on YouTube. They call them level 4 cars. This is how they defined full autonomy, where the cars, you wouldn't even need a steering wheel. I mean, you just get in, and now
So when it crashes, you'll just have no other choice but to sit there
you
and
know,
cry?
Right, and now Morgan Stanley says the savings could be about $5.6 trillion. Because why? Because
That's more than the GDP
no
of
traffic.
Japan.
Yeah, right. More than the GDP of Japan. No traffic accidents, right? Fewer fatalities, lower fuel consumption, greater productivity. With people
Oh,
working,
wait a minute. We're supposed to work in our cars while we're driving
it's supposed to work.
Forget it.
Yeah. And global productivity goes up, and then the economy goes up, and then there'll be $1.3 trillion in savings. And then they say the reduction of traffic accidents mean there'll be nobody in hospitals. The doctors will have nothing to do, and healthcare will go down to nothing.
Why do I hear Bon Jovi in the background singing "It's My Life"?
I don't know. Is that Bon Jovi you hear in the background?
I hear a lot of things in my head, but usually are kill. No.
The voices, the bunny rabbits, George, the bunny rabbits. No, no. So this is just all totally, completely crazy, but it's not. And so we're gonna find out what is the real state of the auto industry. But before we do that, it's car trivia time.
Yep.
Chris, this is when we ask a crazy trivia question, but we don't make you wait. We'll give the answer right after the break.
That's right.
And so we want to find a really tough one for you, and we were talking about great American racers. And so this one, you, Doug, I don't know where you found this, Chris. Why don't you answer this, or at least ask this?
I'll ask it.
Yeah.
I'll
Ask
answer
this
it later.
question, see if anybody out there gets this.
What two historic things did American racing legend Dan Gurney do in the summer of 1967?
Historic things. These went down in history, the Dan Gurney.
Things that you see
in
to this
1967. So think about that. So think about it, and then what we'll do is we're going to reveal the answer to this crazy question that Chris found somewhere, and then we're going to make him sit down. We're going to give you the State of the Industry address right after this. Hi, and welcome back to Cars in Context. I'm your host, John Clor. Today, we're going to give you the State of the Auto Industry address, and it's going to come from Chris Sawyer, thevirtualdriver.com.
Hi,
Chris,
John. How are you?
thanks for coming in here. I know this is tough. You know, we see the auto industry from slightly different.
Slightly. Yeah, you wanted to beat me up over this one.
No, there'll be no fighting on stage. We'll take it outside later on in the parking lot of WMTV.
There
here
you
at the
go.
War Memorial. No, but Chris, before we get into our topic of the day and we put you in the driver's seat, we have to answer this crazy trivia question. I don't know where you found it, and seeing the answer, I think it's just off the hook. So let's repeat the question, which was, what two historic things did American racing legend Dan Gurney, one of my favorite all-time race drivers?
I've met him twice. He's a great guy.
He's an awesome guy.
Great
Kind of
guy.
tall, though.
Yes, well, yeah.
What did he do in the summer of 1967 that made history?
Now
Chris,
he
you gotta
won
tell
the
us.
24 Hours of Le Mans with A.J. Foyt that year, and that was exciting.
That's
But
huge.
Even more exciting, he won the Belgian Grand Prix in a race car of his own manufacture, the Eagle Mark I. Never been done before in the U.S.
He won the Belgian.
And
Yeah.
he was the first driver ever to spray champagne from the winner's rostrum. Ever. Never was done before
That's
that.
where it
they used
started?
to drink it.
No. Who
Dan-
drinks champagne anymore?
And the picture you see is the guy helping him take the cork off of it.
Yeah.
And he said, all of a sudden I just had this thought, and he did it. And he said, I didn't think it through because I soaked Mr. Ford and Mrs. Ford.
Oh, wow. Well, that's why they've changed from that really expensive champagne to the
Ripple?
Andre that they got at Kroger.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a question. If he had crashed this Eagle Mark I in the Belgian Grand Prix, would he have made it into a Belgian waffle?
Go away.
Okay, stop. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so folks, that was crazy, wasn't it? Yeah, very good, Chris. That was excellent. So today, now, Chris, let's talk about the auto industry. You know, the news is everywhere. We've rebounded. In fact, a lot of people are crediting the auto industry with raising up the U.S. economy after this
Yeah, very
horrific
much so.
recession.
Very much so.
Everybody went back to work. They're hiring like crazy. Ford, GM, even that Italian company Chrysler. They're all
being
hiring people,
nice.
and we're all going back to work. People are buying cars. This is you know, what's the rising tide raises all.
Raises all boats.
Yeah. So the auto industry is getting credit, and we're selling at this in crazy 17, 16 million a year.
That's 17 million, yeah.
That's incredible numbers. Maybe we can't sustain it, but Chris, so really, when you look at it from all intents and purposes, we're in fantastic shape.
Wrong, Geronimo.
Well, I'm sure.
And I say that not because there's anything wrong with the industry, it's what the governments around the world are doing. And they've set some really big problems
So
ahead
what
of us.
is the state of the industry looks great. So what are you saying?
Let's take
here,
a look, for example,
champagne breath.
at the requirement for electric vehicles, especially in Europe and California.
Okay.
They're talking about 25% of the market. Okay. Regulators are pushing for greater numbers of these vehicles.
Right.
It's looking like it's a repeat of California's ZEV mandate of the late 1990s.
Why do they
Zero
do this to
emission
us,
vehicles.
Chris?
So that one had to be rescinded as battery technology and cost didn't meet the expectations. Remember the GM EV1? Great car, but Didn't go that far. Cost like the dickens.
GM killed the electric car.
Yeah, right. California, like Europe, may be forced to remove its fiscal support for zero-emission vehicles as oil prices stabilize.
Uh-oh.
And that's a big hit to the government treasury of that money going out the door.
There'll be a lot of people fracking
Oh, they'll be fracking crazy. BMW board member Ian Robertson, on the other hand, has been really bullish on battery electric vehicles. He says there'll be more progress in the next 4 years than it had been in the last 100.
Don't get it.
Heard that before.
Yeah.
In fact, let's not forget that it was an advanced battery, since changed, that nearly brought down the whole Boeing 787 project.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Hyundai, Toyota, and Honda are all moving forward on fuel cell vehicles.
That's right.
What does that tell you? You know what's cool about fuel cell vehicles? They're electric, but you fill them up like a gas car, and you go and you fill up, you go, you fill up. Wow, you don't have to sit there for 26 minutes at the minimum.
You don't have 26 minutes anymore?
And that's right. Apple, which may be building an autonomous electric vehicle, likes alternative energy, and it's putting its own money into renewables. But the dirty little secret to all this, you and I and every U.S. taxpayer are picking up 30% of Apple's costs in subsidies.
Well, the apple doesn't
No
fall
wonder they
far from
like.
the tree
No
on that.
wonder they like this.
It's always in our pockets.
Oh, and Mercedes
Yeah?
made its most money off of electric vehicles when it sold its stake in Tesla. Now, let's look at the other side of it. Car sales in the U.S. are nearly 17 million vehicles.
That's right. So how can
And they
you
look to
complain?
stay there for the short term.
It looks right. Yep.
Could be a few years here.
Yes, sir.
Sales in Europe are still weak, but improving
Yeah.
slightly. The Russian market is so precarious
It's
that
bad.
automakers are backing out of their expansion plans and pulling back on production. Sales continue to drop.
Yep.
So we're doing well, right?
Okay.
Well, no. Low interest rates are keeping the market afloat. So shading lending practices, however, are creating another bubble. Many new car loans can be had for terms of 60 to 72 months. That's 5 or 6 years, as we had in that news item.
Well, the problem is you don't have your job for 5 years.
Yeah, except here's the other problem is the structural unemployment rate. The unemployment numbers we used to use in the 80s are far higher than the federal government says. They're at 11%. Most jobs created over the past 7+ years have been low wage or part-time.
Yep.
Wage growth has been stagnant for more than 20 years.
But Walmart's raising their minimum wage to $9 now.
Nice PR move. Is going to cost them a lot of money. Over the past 7+ years, real wages have declined.
Oh, that's terrible.
Next year, new emission standards will add almost $1,500 to the price of a new car.
Now that's the scary part right
Stuff
there.
that you can't see.
Now I'm agreeing with you,
And you're going to
Chris.
wonder, why am I paying this?
Why did
The
they do this to me?
54.5 mile per gallon CAFE standards could
Yeah.
add more than $6,000 to the price of the vehicle by 2025.
I've been in cafes where I spent $6,000.
Exactly. The Federal Reserve's quantitative easing, which is nothing less than buying back our own debt with money we print. Now, does this make sense to someone? Is
To
a
them.
recipe for potential disaster, and let me explain why. No country has ever successfully unwound such a program. Last country to do it was Germany after World War I.
Ooh.
Remember what happened there?
Yeah, they had to.
1 million marks for a loaf of bread. Wow. Based on the
Stuff to
money
make
pumped.
change, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, that's right. Based on the money being pumped into the economy, we could see 100% inflation per year for 3 years. This does not mean prices will triple. Let me explain how this works. If something costs $1 today,
I don't feel
it's
so good.
$2 next year.
Yeah.
It's $4 in the second year.
Yeah.
It's $8 in the third year.
You're killing me, Chris.
A $20,000 car would be $40,000 in year 1, $80,000 in year 2, $160,000 in year 3.
Can't I just put wheels on my house?
You're going to have to.
Wow.
So there are some really big problems out there that no one's talking about, and you better be prepared
Why
for
did you bring them up here? I mean,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to make you cry, but
Well, folks, that's the state of the auto industry.
As
so,
as it were.
Yeah. So, Chris, we've got some challenges, in other words, what Chris is saying. And we're counting on you young people, you bright, smart young people coming out of college. You got to come in and you got to fix all this because we made a giant mess. And it's time when you were little and made a big mess, we cleaned it up. So now it's your turn.
So in other words, you got to wipe our bottoms.
That's right. Thank you so much. But Chris, that was absolutely stunning. I'm sure I'm going to see a lot of this on thevirtualdriver.com.
Yes, and you're probably going to get an awful lot of mails about this.
I'll take it. J. Clor, carsandcontext.com. But here's something we really get mail about, and it just seems to be the funny stuff. People love the pick of the week. And this week, I've done it again. I have caused
So modest.
Well, you patted yourself on the back, so
Okay, I'll pat you on the back.
This
There you
time
go.
I took this photo, and it stunned me so much that I asked everybody, should I show this? And when I got Jeremy Dulac and,
You were
and Lauren
stunned?
Parrott to say, okay, go ahead and show it. You know, it's your show.
You were stunned?
Yeah.
And it wasn't Jenny with the taser again.
No,
was it?
usually I told her, yeah, I took the batteries out of that.
Oh, good.
But the wire is still hurt.
Oh.
Yeah, but anyway, so this picture, folks, is taken. Here's a photo. Okay, now that looks great. Look at that beautiful Ford GT and this lovely young lady. I didn't get her last name because of what happened after this conversation. Her first name is Heather. And if you look at this car and Heather standing, she said she had some association with this car. She didn't really say she owned it. This beautiful Ford GT was parked here at the Ford Nationals at Carlisle, Pennsylvania last summer. And then when I looked down on her leg, yes, folks, that is a tether. And that is Heather with the tether, who I don't know, Heather wouldn't explain, never complain, never explain.
It's her car, huh?
She said she was something, she looked like she had the keys to it. Maybe that's why she had the tether.
Yeah.
Heather with the tether is our pick of the week. Heather, thank you for letting me have that photo of you. I wish, if you see yourself on YouTube, call in and tell me how you got the tether and whose car that really is. But you know, that's not all. Now it's time for another great little segment we have on the show. It's called Pride in My Ride.
That's right.
This is when you, the viewers, get to send me a picture of your car and you tell us, why do you have pride in your ride? And you really should be doing this. You know, we've been getting a lot of Pride in My Rides from our YouTube channel, and we just want to know why people around this town don't send us. They should send us their car.
That's right. A lot of people.
This one did come to us from a guy who watches us on AT&T Uverse out in Livonia.
Cool.
And his name is Langware. This is a picture of his 1965 Ford Thunderbird
Nice.
hardtop. This thing's
Love
beautiful.
those cars.
Lang loved this car too. It belonged to his buddy for many years. His buddy passed away, and Lang is taking care of this car. Now Lang's saying, you know what? He's got so many old cars. He loves this T-Bird. Folks, if you like this car, you contact Langware. He's always at the Mustang Owner Club of Southeastern Michigan meetings, second Tuesday of the month, out at Warren Valley Country Club out on Warren and Beach Daily. So if you want to meet Lang and buy that 65, he's so attached to that car. When you have an old T-Bird,
But not attached like Heather was with that.
no, not
Ford
with the
GT.
tether. Lang does not have a tether. So that was really cool. Thanks for sending that to me. If you have a picture you want shared with Pride in Your Ride, send it to me, jclor@carsandcontext.com, and we'll be sure to put it on the air. But now there's even more.
Yes.
Now is the time we ask one of the favorite segments of all you guys on YouTube. Keep writing in. When is Lauren Parrott coming on? Lauren checks our Cars and Context mailbag. And Lauren, I know you're out there somewhere in the darkness. Did you check our Cars and Context mailbag? Did you make sure that we have mail this week? Because I count on her to make sure that everything is right with the show. So Lauren, are you out there? And I don't see Lauren. Lauren, are you going to be able to?
I'm here.
Lauren is.
Did you were in the sub-basement, weren't you?
Lauren, you were in the
Down there in the bat cave.
You were in
That's where the mail is, you guys.
the mail was downstairs.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Well, thanks for. Lauren, by the way, I really appreciate giving me the new mail. And
You're so welcome.
I always
Thank you,
count on
thank
to
you.
take care of me and to make sure that this stuff comes on with this part of the show.
She makes us both look good.
Yeah.
But you could use some help.
What?
Yeah,
Something
you
wrong?
could actually.
What's wrong with me? What?
Here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Makeup.
Just
Thank
eat
you.
your
Lauren.
hearts out, guys.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Lauren.
looks better.
Isn't this awesome? Okay, forget the, yeah. I don't want the mail, I guess. No, go ahead, Chris, you read some mail.
I'll read the first one.
Okay, thank you,
This
Lauren.
one comes to us from Sally B. of Grosse Pointe Farms, who watches Cars and Context on Comcast Cable Channel 915, which is
HD, which is why Lauren fixed
And
my
your hair looks good.
Thank you, Lauren. It's
Dear
awesome.
Chris, I saw your show about driving ugly cars
Oh.
and was offended by one of your selections.
What?
Really? I happen to own and still drive my Pontiac Aztek. My apologies, Sally. I can't stand it when journalists like you guys say it's ugly and make fun of it.
Yeah.
I think it's cute. Do you think? You know, Dr. Romani could help you. Don't you think you should apologize to all the owners of the cars that you guys called ugly on that show? No.
You're not going to apologize?
I'm not.
Well, then I won't either, Sally.
Sally, I'm not saying it's a bad car. It's just that I remember how ugly that car was, and the fact that when they showed it to us at the auto show, they had a tent on the back of it, and everybody said, "Do you have one for the front?"
Chris, you're offending our Cars and Context viewers. Wait, folks, are you upset that we called you out on some of these ugly cars? Because
Probably. I would say that
Sally-
judging from this, yes.
Sally, first of all, let's just say, we're going to say one word, I know you want us to say,
And
we're
I
sorry.
just want to say one more thing,
Yeah.
that when GM went bankrupt, they had a whole bunch of Aztecs left over, quite a number of them. And so they couldn't sell them as new cars, so they got rid of them really cheap. I understand that some of these cars went for like $8,000.
Brand new cars?
Brand new cars. If I had known about that, I would have bought one. Honestly, would have bought one. Granted, I would have probably put a bag over my head so nobody knew it was me driving the car.
No.
But they were great cars.
Folks, listen. Sally, let me say, I don't know if...
There's no accounting for taste, as my mother
No,
said.
come on, Chris.
And
Sally,
well, you know,
you're not the only... Okay, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
I'm just leaving that one. We're dead. We're dead.
Look, for those of you who work at the War Memorial, when I pulled in for the show today, I parked next to a Nissan Cube, which was also
One of our ugly cars.
So, I mean, I don't know what to say to you folks. I mean, here's what I can tell you. Some of your choices are...
All that matters is that you like it.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Now, if you like your car...
We
if
said
you
this
like
on our cruise
Yeah.
show. We've done it.
Yeah.
All of it. Doesn't matter if we like it or not.
Yeah.
As long as you do.
Right.
Get
Now-
me out of this, John. She's going to come and kill us.
Okay, now, Lauren, take it easy. Now, listen, that's like saying, okay, Sally, I remember when I went to a family function and one of the nieces had a baby. And the baby came in. Everybody's babies are all cute, right? So they came out with the baby and they said, "Oh, did you see my baby?" And they go, "Ah!" This was, I'm not saying which niece, so you guys will never find out. This was really one of the ugliest babies I've ever, I mean, that's pretty, I mean, babies are usually all pretty cute, but this baby was like scary. It was like poltergeist or something. So we have an opinion. I mean, did I say, "Oh, that's really an ugly baby"? No. I said that, well, that's your baby. Oh, isn't she interesting? So Sally, thanks for sending in your letter. Is the Aztec beautiful? Maybe it's beautiful to you, but for the rest of the
All
world.
that matters, Sally.
Yeah, we're gonna, folks, if you drive an ugly car, you know, look in the mirror and find out what is wrong with you. I mean, it could be. I mean, why are you buying these? You don't have to buy these hideous-looking cars. And maybe you want to stand out and get attention. Maybe that's it. So, all right. So, sorry about that. We took so long on that. Anyway, I have a letter. This one comes to us from Chaz. Chaz B. Wasn't Chaz Sonny Bono and
Yeah.
yeah.
Didn't know Chaz moved to Grosse Pointe Wood.
Yeah, who watches Cars in Context on AT Universe Channel 99. So he says, "Dear John, I saw your show where you talked about cars being hacked." Yeah, that's right, we did a whole piece on hack. And was wondering about Lincoln's new Google app that lets customers lock and unlock, start, and locate their car from their Android smartphone. Is that on a 15? That's on the new
Yeah,
Lincoln.
would be.
Okay,
Would
the phone connects to a modem in the car and goes through the My Lincoln app on 2015 MKCs. Okay, if the owners also Google Now, that you can use your remote start and you can schedule it based on events in your calendar. And it suggests traffic routes for you. John, will that kind of cool app cause a hacking issue if I get it? Wait a minute. I haven't answered the question yet, and your head is bobbing up and down. Okay, yes, folks, hate to break it to you, if it's connected to your smartphone, you can probably hack it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thank God.
It's
Yeah.
an increasing problem.
So Chaz, if you get the app, you could be hacked. Make sure all your other pictures are off there too.
And you know the problem
I
really
don't see
isn't-
your Snapchat photos. That's for sure.
That's right. Yeah. And the problem
Nobody hacks those.
problem isn't with the technology, it's with these idiots who are hacking everything.
That's true. So Chris, thanks again. We've tried to tell you that their auto industry looks good, but you should be looking for other things. That's what we expect you to do on thevirtualdriver.com. That's where I catch you, and that's where you can catch him every moment of every waking day. When you have nothing to do, just sign on and just get online and read you all the time.
Please.
Or go to Cars in Context TV on the YouTube channel. Until next time, remember that our motto here is knowledge is power.
Yeah, because we didn't think of anything else.
No, that was, I like, we have knowledge. So until then, remember, come on back and visit us again next time. Thanks for watching, folks.